Well, it is the Club World Cup.
This is what we've been waiting for, isn't it?
We've been waiting a while.
We started this show in 2007, and it's all been leading up to this.
It has, Jim. This is what it's all about. It's going to be huge, Andy. You're going?
Yeah, tomorrow.
You're off tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow I'm going to Los Angeles.
Bit of a sore head after
the
Pulse
first couple of
tonight.
games. Yeah, exactly.
Does Los Angeles need you now, Andy? The trouble they're going through? National Guard on the streets and Andy Brassel in the sheets.
Needs a bit of calm. That's what it needs.
Needs a bit of calm.
To be fair, of all the people I know, then hopefully a lot of them are QPR fans. Who'll be like, is Sean Derry turned up to go?
How much are you spending on each hotel night? I imagine it's absolutely obscene.
It's not that bad, actually.
Not that bad.
It's not that bad. I'm staying in Pasadena because the games are at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena.
I see. Right, okay. The Rose Bowl is in the 1994 Rose Bowl.
Oh, yeah, baby.
That's the one.
Oh, beautiful. They do good markets.
The perfect place for PSG versus Atletico to start at midday.
Yes.
With absolutely no cover.
I saw a pre-season friendly there between Manchester United and LA Galaxy many moons ago. And it was roasting at like 7 p.m. whenever it kicked off. But that stadium is so intriguing because if you think about other stadiums that you've been to that have hosted massive matches, and they don't come any bigger than the World Cup final, and despite Wembley's breachable security, you go in there and okay, I could see this, or I don't know whether it be the Allianz Arena or blah blah. You start naming them all. That stadium, you think, how on earth did this host a World Cup final? It's almost like a college stadium kind of thing,
right.
It's quite, I don't know, would you use the word primitive? Is that the right word? Maybe that's not the right word.
It feels quite old school.
Old school.
I'd say that.
Can you buy dipping dots or can't you? I mean, to cool yourself down on a hot day.
What's a dipping dot?
It's like a tiny ball of frozen ice cream, I think. And
you smear it all over yourself?
No, you eat it, but they're just absolutely delicious, and you just don't see them very often in this country.
Yeah, but it makes you thirst more.
Does it?
Well, that's when you go
ice
and
cream
get.
That's
when you go and get yourself a pint of michelada.
Oh, come on.
What's that, 5%?
Beautiful.
So they're going to make an absolute fortune out of this, basically, just from everyone trying all these different methods to keep cool.
That's the plan. Yeah.
I think Mr. Slush Puppy's going to do well out of you, Andy.
Yes.
I think it's full of nutritious stuff.
Talking of retro.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that going to be kind of like basically when you, for the time difference, it's basically going to be morning football? It's going to be like breakfast football for you, isn't it?
Yeah, that'd be pretty good, wouldn't it?
Yeah, lots of fun.
Then fry up and then you'll get fried yourself. No roof on that stadium. Well, Egyptian side Al Ahly face Inter Miami in tomorrow night's opener in Miami, which is 1 a.m. British time on the Sunday, Saturday night, but Sunday morning technically, if you will.
See, I won't be watching that because the Gold Cup will be going on at the same time in the same city.
Oh wow! But you'll have a laptop on, won't you? We've seen you double screen.
Yeah, but never mind. Like it might be reaching the point where I think there's too much football.
Yeah, there's a big sort
football.
of hippie scene out in LA, isn't there? Maybe you could get someone to teach you like astral projection. You can watch both.
Andy's going to be down Muscle Beach getting hunky.
I should say so. Who's in the Gold Cup final, by the way? Or is it yet to be determined?
No, it's not the final. It's the tournament's just starting.
Oh, I see.
So there are two tournaments starting at the same time,
Yes,
and
that's
some
right.
of the players who should be playing for the USA in the Gold Cup can't because they're playing in the Club World Cup in the same country, like Weston McKennie, for example.
I listened to the official FIFA Club World Cup podcast.
Oh yeah,
on the way in, and
I didn't get asked.
No, I mean, it just felt very Freed from Desire, the theme.
Yeah. AI host.
Pretty. That was kind of their kind of like tasting notes, I would say.
Yeah.
But it had that wonderful gloss and sheen of like a Transworld Sport kind of piece, and it made me. And I'm going to say it, very excited for this tournament, Marcus Bella. So I am on board with the Club World Cup. Talk about like the stadium in Nashville and stuff. Get me out there.
Yeah,
I want to go to Nashville. I want to dance on a table at Coyote Ugly. A bar I repeatedly went to when I was in Nashville.
Was there one in Nashville? Is it? There must be
one everywhere.
The
One
real
Fukuoka.
I think there's one in Liverpool.
Yeah, is that right? Yeah.
The real Coyote Ugly is in the meatpacking district in New York.
Is it really? Right. I see.
Yeah. I'm glad to
That's
hear
where you guys met.
I'm glad to hear a bit of excitement because it's a summer tournament. I've not seen any bunting yet. Walking around, Are there any Boca Juniors like flags anywhere?
No.
Are you seeing any Benfica bunting? No, there's none of it. So I'm glad that you're bringing the excitement for this majorly legitimate summer tournament.
Bring
actually.
your Botafogo and Bayern bunting.
Exactly.
Other matches this weekend: Palmeiras versus Porto, Bayern versus Auckland City. The amateurs, amateurs.
Against Bayern.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very
Against
good.
Bayern.
Against Bayern.
That feels like a punishment more
That's
than
a
an
lesson, isn't
achievement.
it?
Do you
Yeah.
not feel like it's a plum draw for them?
Well, in theory, yeah. But it might be
they
one
don't
of those
make
things
much
where you
money
get
out
on
of
the
it.
pitch and like after 5 minutes, it's like I'm knackered. I've got a stitch now already.
Do you
And
get any money
that's
for
Harry
entering?
Kane.
Do you get any money for actually
yeah, you
entering?
do.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it's quite the old wedge.
Is it?
I think
Right.
is it 90 million to win it potentially?
There's a
It's
lot of money on
But they're not getting there, though.
No, they obviously aren't going to get that. But
There's a
they'll
lot
get
of
decent
money on
amount.
offer.
Right.
There really is.
Okay.
There had to be to get them there.
Yeah.
The reason why I think it's a plum draw for Auckland City is because, what would you rather be beaten by, some sides that you'd never really heard of or whatever, or you play against
The glamour
Bayern,
sides.
Boca, and
Yeah.
Benfica? This is
I mean,
In the
that is a
States,
brilliant
it's
draw.
come
amazing.
on, it's quality.
It's absolutely amazing. I mean, some of these guys, presumably they've had to take unpaid leave off work.
Yeah, 'cause they're out there
It's
work,
like, so it's like when Portugal went to the Rugby World Cup, for example.
Oh right, yeah.
It's amazing. Like to have that in modern sport feels absolutely amazing.
Angus Kilcolly's not going to be doing any painting
And Andy,
this week.
think about it. The shirt swapping involved. They'll love it. They will absolutely love it. They'll
Can
be
you
like,
imagine the scramble for the biggies?
yeah.
Yeah.
I know. Eh? They won't be able to get Eric Dyers though.
No.
He's gone to
He's on
Monaco. Very wise. Thinking, none of this Club World Cup stuff. I want a break. I want to go south of France. Agent, can you get? Oh, you have, lovely Monaco. That's me.
You're
looks
still only
quite-
get 2 weeks.
He looks like quite a relaxed man who would enjoy a holiday, doesn't he?
He earned his
Yeah.
winner's medal. Bundesliga's
I
winner.
bet he's
Yeah.
got a cupboard full of flip flops, different kinds of flip flops.
Yeah, all the different Havianas or however you
Yeah.
pronounce it. Elsewhere this weekend, Botafogo against the locals, Seattle Sounders. But perhaps the glamour tie of the weekend, PSG versus Atletico Madrid.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to on Sunday. Yeah.
Is that right? Is that what PSG need? You've won the Champions League.
Yeah.
A lot of their players just won the UEFA Nations
It's,
League.
it's just how you sell it, isn't it? I mean, like Luis Enrique will be turning around and go, right, lads, off to LA. Bit of a celebration.
reckon?
Yeah.
I guess it's
To
how
get
you fancy
beaten
it.
up by Atletico Madrid.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
And I mean, at the end of the day,
last team you want to face.
Yeah.
like America's a cool place to go for people, isn't it?
Yes,
so
it
they'd,
is,
they'd
yeah.
usually be holidaying there anyway.
Well, so you think they're all just going to have a jolly up?
I think they're just going to have a little jolly.
Like, the
Usman
game's at
Dembele's injured, but he's still going.
Yeah.
It's that kind of vibe.
I'm all in on that, Andy. And had you have let me go with you, I would have loved it myself. You know,
Like an Olympic village, cardboard beds and just fucking left, right, centre.
Have they put a Club World Cup village up? That'd be
Yeah.
I think that if you're Luis Enrique, you'd be to give the players a little bit of time off and all that kind of stuff. You'd be like, lads, we're kicking off at 3 on whenever they're kicking off. Just get there an hour before the game. That's it. I'll see you in a few days. You know what I mean? Like it would be. Yeah, you don't need to train for this, Andy. Do you?
Well,
They know their jobs.
Whereas normally they have the sort of, I suppose it's going the way of NBA, isn't it? Where there's a sort of players' fashion catwalk almost on the way into the stadium. Everyone's looking what the players are wearing, and we're assuming like a couple of them come in with like candy floss and Mickey Mouse ears. From Anaheim.
That would be very good. I would be very pleased with that. Well, despite the teams on the show and Andy Brassell's presence, ticket sales do continue to be sluggish.
Well, now you've announced my presence, I'm assuming they'll go through the roof now, right?
I would have thought so.
Pitbull, isn't it?
He's got the East Coast. I'm dealing with the West Coast.
Well, you have to.
That's what's happening between us.
That's right.
Yeah.
And there's plenty to deal with. There are plenty of seats available for tomorrow's opening match. There are some tickets available as low as $25.
Yes.
So, I mean, Jim, you'd be up for that.
Would I? Yeah, I think this is interesting, isn't it? Because it's becoming quite a big story that ticket sales are sluggish, and it will be slightly embarrassing for FIFA if there are visibly empty stadiums for the tournament, especially if they're particularly bad. But does it actually matter? I think it's more about the TV audience is more important, isn't it? I think for this to establish
Looks bad though, isn't it?
It does.
I think it
does.
You'd
depends
fill up one
quite-
side of the stadium first,
yeah.
wouldn't you?
Exactly.
Quite how empty it is.
Could you
doesn't
direct
it?
all the play down that one side, both teams?
That's what you should do. Well, Gianni Infantino, the president of FIFA and sort of de facto president of the world, is not worried though. He said the stadium will be full. You never really know what will happen?
You never really know what
Wise
I'm
words.
talking about. That sounds like a sort of thing a baddie would say before pressing a button on something.
Yes, but this button means that you have a lot of people suddenly pop up through the floor.
Yeah.
And they're in the seats. Will they go for the sort of would you think they'll have cardboard cutout fans or something?
Oh,
just in
maybe.
case?
Worked in the lockdown.
They did. Andy was part of it at AFC Wimbledon.
Yeah, me and my family were cardboard cutouts behind the goal.
They are. Well, I don't know why on your one they had you given a V sign, but there we are.
Weirdly, I was trying to find it in my house the other day, and I seem to have lost them.
Oh no!
It probably means my wife has recycled them.
Yeah.
Feeding you into a shredder. Lovely.
Did Pete buy you on eBay?
Yeah,
That's what you got.
You're my family now. I remember maybe remember that shot of Putin and Infantino playing football against a robot goalkeeper.
I do, yeah.
And Putin can't get it past the robot. I mean, to be fair, no one could get it past the robot goalkeeper. But Infantino managed to get it past the robot goalkeeper, and there was a lovely moment where Putin really annoyed about it. And so fair play to Gianni. But maybe he's taken the robot footballer.
Is that what it is?
The robot goalkeeper, rather, and stuck a load of them in the stands. Maybe
that would be. There'd be. I think there will be something, whether it's robots, cardboard cutouts,
AI,
or people that
augmented reality,
perhaps, or people that they've just simply paid to be there.
I mean that's the likelihood, isn't it? They're essentially papering it like it's the first night of a fringe show. No one's there yet. The show's not ready.
You'd have a little.
There's 10 ticket sales.
All those deportees, just pop them in the stadium. Yeah, on their way to El Salvador.
By the way, right, before you give any, I don't think anybody was giving Infantino any credit there, but Infantino also said this, and we're in trouble here.
Yeah.
One of the best things I've learned here in the United States is the concept of dynamic pricing. I knew nothing about it, but it means prices can go up or down.
The spin
I
on
bet
this.
you fucking did.
Spin on this.
They don't go down, do they?
Nosferatu.
They never go down.
Well, they've gone down here, haven't they? Isn't
Have they?
that how he's trying to spin this as a positive? Like, see, dynamic pricing is brilliant sometimes because it makes it really affordable. Snap up your tickets, kids. And also,
but when you hand your credit card over, they go up.
Yeah. But there's been talk for a while that dynamic pricing tickets will be used for the World Cup. So Infantino appears to be lying here about only having just discovered that.
There will be an interview he has done 10 years ago talking about dynamic pricing, and I wish it was a two-way sort of interview where somebody could challenge him. So I go, that's a lie, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've of course heard of that.
It doesn't, to me, feel a reveal that he could get free tickets to Oasis.
Maybe. Students at Miami-Dade College are reportedly being offered 4 complimentary tickets if they buy one $20 ticket for the opening match. Students are even being given the chance to intern at FIFA's offices. Don't do it.
Yeah, intern in the seats at a stadium.
Yeah. The first job is you've got to travel around and sit in all these seats.
Yeah.
That's do your doggies.
I'm up for it. I'm on board.
I know
Get me
you
in
are.
the seats.
But you love it because it's chaos. It's
Colorado.
It's Colorado. It's a failing thing.
Yeah.
And you're the man to do it. Do you still have that FIFA fleece that you bought?
Oh, that's a good point, actually. Yeah, I probably wouldn't wear it maybe in Colorado.
Pop that on.
Yeah.
It does go to show that everyone has their price, doesn't it?
And mine was just listening to a podcast.
Yeah, that's all it was. Well, gentlemen, amid the ongoing controversy and protests in Los Angeles, the US Customs and Border Patrol tweeted, "Let the games begin!"
That is absolutely chilling.
The first
Stroking a revolver. Fucking Hunger Games.
Isn't it? The tweet,
Licking a billy club. Everybody welcome.
the tweet went on to say, the first FIFA Club World Cup games start on June 14th in Miami. CBP will be suited and booted and ready to provide security for the first round of games.
Why are you talking about your boots,
This
mate?
is apparently, not not unreasonably been very off-putting for people.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be essentially like ICE agents at the games.
There was
nuts.
a AAA Mexican wrestling outfit and WWE kind of joint promotion show on in Inglewood last week, and I was thinking, if I'm Mexican or anybody from South America, I wouldn't be attending that show because it's literally just you'll have like ICE agents going to Home Depot and picking people up who are just day labourers and stuff. It's like then it's not about the criminals anymore. It's about literally anyone they can get. So a horrific time to visit America.
It is horrific. Would you risk it if it was pulp?
Again, Andy, everyone has their price.
Yeah.
You're not from Sheffield.
FIFA will hold a consultation about expanding the Club World Cup from 32 teams to 48 teams
with themselves.
If the tournament goes well, I love it.
Yeah.
They're not even.
Don't you wait for a week in when people are concentrating on the football?
Andy, I don't.
They're all New Zealand club sides.
Yeah, that's right.
What keeps being forgotten about this is like if they expand this and it presumably would become another 6-week tournament as well. Like they've expanded the Champions League. Where are we going to fit the Super League? Where are we going to fit it?
Well, I know Arsenal fans are worried.
Exactly.
You know, it's madness. I love the fact that they haven't even waited. They said, well, if it goes well, again, that'll be very much up to their interpretation. But just wait for the first ball to be kicked. But already, that's what they want to do. They want it to 48 teams.
It could be an absolute disaster, and no one at FIFA would realise because Gianni Infantino seems to just be kind of unaware of what makes football interesting or good.
Also, as well, where can a 48-team tournament realistically be hosted? The US is maybe the only or one of a very, very few small group of countries that could do that.
The UK could do it.
I think you've just sold me. Several insiders at FIFA have said that it's an open secret internally that the tournament will soon be played every 2 years.
It's just...
Because the next one is scheduled in 2029, so they're going to bring it every 2 years.
Right.
And this is all when a study has just come out saying that footballers need at least a 4-week holiday in between times, and then like a 4-week training
pre-season. This is from Fifth Pro, isn't it? Which is sort of the biggest players' union in the world.
Yes,
I think this is the most concerning thing because the players are already. I think what happens over this tournament, football-wise, is interesting, and how seriously teams take it and all the rest of it. But I think how the players react and what they say at the end of it, because we've had, I think, more player dissent than ever before about the calendar. And what influence the players are able to have on the future shaping of the calendar is really interesting because we could be heading towards, you talked about the Super League there, we could be heading towards some sort of old boxing style scenario where you have a schism of associations, a schism of competitions. If clubs and players say, actually, we can't do this. There are decisions that have to be made.
They've definitely taken the easy route of doing it in the US because it is quite a nice place for young footballers to visit. If they were doing this in, South Africa or, somewhere where it's not quite as kind of the sort of place they'd holiday anyway, I think.
And it's easier to sell to the clubs as well because it's a market where it's being sold to them as ripe for expansion.
Growth,
Oh, well, gentlemen, I think we should go for a well-earned break now. But coming up after that, more from the Club World Cup. And Trent, hablo español muy bien, Andy.
I'm Martin Keown, and you're listening to Football Ramble.
Maybe just once more about the Football Ramble. That'd be all right.
Hi, I'm Martin Keown, and you're listening to the Football Ramble. I'm Martin Keown.
Welcome back to the Football Ramble, everybody.
Deep cut that. Proper old school.
It was, wasn't it? Good old Martin. Now, Manchester City and Chelsea are getting ready for the Club World Cup, of course. UEFA President Alexander Seferin thinks the European teams will win everything.
There's only one thing to win, isn't there?
And only one of them can do it. But Seferin is in very, very buoyant spirits. So the European clubs... Apparently they are taking it quite seriously. Manchester City chief exec Ferran Soriano revealed that the club staff have been adjusting the squad's physical programme to ensure they're ready for the tournament. And they're in a group with Juventus, Al Ain from UAE and Wydad from Morocco. So, as
they'll probably get through.
You would imagine so. There's not going to be much jeopardy. But I suppose they have to take it seriously. And of course, while the tournament goes on and you start facing these other European sides and there's more eyes on the competition and more prize
and the
money,
South American side will be a threat as well, you would think.
Yeah. It just naturally, the competition will sort of ramp up.
Yeah,
a bit.
I mean, there's no...
I don't think there'll be tears if they go out.
The clubs have to take it seriously and there's no, shame on them for doing so when they're in it.
Because you don't want to be embarrassed as well.
There's a difference, though. We were talking about this on OTC, though. There's surely a difference between clubs' needs and teams' needs. And that's what we're going to work out. Because people, and again we talked about this yesterday, that the fact is that people are already talking about Liverpool and Arsenal being favourites for the Premier League next season, because what sort of shape
City and
Chelsea going to turn up in, which I think is fair. And I think for City, their need is slightly different to other teams in this, because
they're using this as like pre-season training.
Exactly. They have really, if you think of the signings they've made this week and the signings they've made back in January, they're bedding in a completely new team. There's a deal of freshness to that as well. I think they'll use it as a bonding experience. I think if you think back to before Euro 24, when Julian Nagelsmann took the Germany team on a small tournament stroke jolly to the United States, and he felt like it really worked for them, because you just don't get that much continuous time with the players. And I think for club teams, this will be quite unique for them in terms of them having continuous amount of time for each other. Now, a lot of those teams, the last thing they want is continuous time for each other, because they've just had that for the past. But you don't get really a situation where you're spending 2 weeks or 3 weeks completely within each other's company. It's more like a national team feel.
Eating Philly cheesesteaks.
Oh, exactly.
In Philadelphia,
exactly.
in Atlanta.
Get a bit of grimy food on the gram.
Beautiful.
That's what it's all about. But I think for City as well, it's not just that. They are still in the process of building a global brand. So I think the needs of them, and at the other end of established global brands, Real Madrid, it's a massive deal for them.
It's also
to
huge
have
for the
presence.
Saudi clubs, isn't it? It's the first true global exposure that they can get.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I find it interesting how they'll approach this. I mean, and I agree with your points. And also as well, I mean, there is the thing that, if Man City went out from of a group with the three aforementioned sides, like, it would be a bit embarrassing. Yeah, it would be. So,
but no one would be talking about it like in a couple of months, I don't think.
No, I don't think they would. I don't think they would. In fact, maybe even over here, people would be like, fair play, lads.
But I think the whole point with this, because it's a completely new tournament, and I know you'll say, the Club World Cup's existed for ages. Not in this format.
No.
It is basically a new tournament. Yes. I think it's hard. It's a little bit like with the first Nations League or the first couple of Nations Leagues. You can't really say what sort of meaning it's got until you're into the thick of it. It's like what Pete was saying at the beginning. We've sort of seen it as this abstract concept at this point that, we're expecting there to be a break, and there's not a break. But I dare say, once we're a few games in, like, we'll feel differently about it.
I think the issue is that I think what we're all expecting is it to be good, because it's football, and we know that the tournament format is an enjoyable one, and one we all like. But regardless of how good it is, even if it's the greatest tournament the world has ever seen, I still don't think that justifies its existence.
If it was the greatest tournament the world has ever seen, I think
I'd
want it every year, Jim.
and that's the problem, isn't it? You be careful saying that. Every year.
When you're watching Grammy winner Doja Cat and Thames strutting their stuff at the halftime show.
Yeah.
They're doing a proper halftime show.
Don't forget J Balvin.
It's an hour long, isn't it, the halftime show?
You see, as you know, my peak of all halftime shows is when Anastasia did one at Bayern on the final day of last season.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
They started the second half 8 minutes late. The other team, Freiburg, was still going for Europe, and they're going...
That is outrageous.
And in the end, Arjen Robben started helping her text dismantle the stage.
That's enjoyable.
So long.
It's good to have a career to fall back on. Roddy, lovely. But the whole halftime show is curated by one Mr. Chris Martin.
Yeah, I read that.
Oh, really?
Of course, yeah.
He'll come on. He'll come on, won't he?
Hi, guys.
I still haven't forgiven him.
I shouldn't be here, but I am here. And if you want me to, do you want me to stay? Yeah.
Oh, fine. I'll do a couple of songs.
Yeah.
When I went to see
Chris.
Jay-Z, I can't remember whether it was O2 or Royal Albert Hall, him and Gwyneth Paltrow, who's still married to at the time, came on and joined Jay-Z in the the encore, and I'm like, fucking hell, God. I didn't pay for this.
I'd have been up for that.
I didn't pay for this.
Yeah, but you got extra, Andy.
I interviewed him once. And it was the day after I split with my ex, and he said, "How was your weekend?"
Did he play Fix You?
He said, "Yeah, right, mate. How was your weekend?" I was like, "Yeah."
And he asked you a question.
He did ask me,
and I give him all the credit in the world.
the credit. I know.
Many famous people and footballers, all the rest of it, they never ask you a question.
But small talk, not being my forte, I just laid it out there and said, split with my girlfriend.
And how did he reply?
He gave me a badge.
Did he? That's nice. What did it say? Loser.
It was one of
I tried hard.
Gave you an L plate.
Just said decoupled.
Consciously uncoupled.
Yeah, here's one for you. Why does he carry these badges around?
I don't know. I think it was one of his. You know, like they've got those little funny little badges and motifs. And
he's got the bracelets.
Like Neil Warnock with his bum bag.
Yeah, it was like a little motif he was carrying around.
What did the
was it
what
like
was
a
the
badge? I was like,
was it a Coldplay badge?
Yeah, it was a Coldplay related badge.
Have you still got it?
No, I think I gave it away to my next lover.
Oh, I call this the breakup badge.
I've earned this.
It does feel like an ingredient in a curse. That badge.
Yeah.
Oh dear. All right. Well, Chelsea will face Los Angeles Football Club, Flamengo, and ES Tunis in Group D. They beat LAFC beat Club America in a playoff earlier this month. They needed to fill the spot left by Club Leon, who were kicked out because of ownership issues.
Would never happen in Europe. Would never happen in Europe. But the thing is, because LAFC have crept in at the last minute as a sort of replacement, Denmark-esque, it means that they're not playing their games in LA. Which is a bit of a fiddle.
That is strange, isn't it?
It's disappointing.
It is a bit disappointing, yeah. But I mean, presumably some of the American sides, I mean, as you said, the Gold Cup's happening, so they're not going to have some of their best players.
I mean, it's super confusing. There have been protests in the MLS that they feel that the MLS season is being sort of semi-cannibalised.
Is that going on as well?
Yeah, they're having a minor break from the MLS.
So you got MLS?
As a friend who lives in America pointed out to me, he's like, I know you like to go to football every day, so you might be able to see a bit of MLS.
Actually, as a friend who lives in England will point out, Andy, it's just MLS.
Yeah, it's not the Major League Soccer, is it?
It's like it's the Arsenal. It's the same thing.
That's their problem. Now, Real Madrid are in the Club World Cup, of course. Some people may well have them down as favourites because they do like to I mean, let's be honest, like Perez would love to be like, we're the champions of the world again. But
that's 100%
Champions League.
Yeah. Which of course they have done in the past. They've won the Club World Cup. But
Just don't turn up. If you're not going to win it, don't turn up like they usually do at the award ceremonies and that. Just don't bother.
Yeah, that was okay. Well, they're in a group with RB Salzburg, Pachuca, and Alexander Mitrovic's Al Hilal.
Nice.
Old Mitro is going to show them what for. and
put them in the Mitro grinder.
And again, everyone has their price. Mine is considerably lower than your average because all you needed to do is put Mitrovic up top, and I'm all in for Al Hilal.
Yeah, good.
It's a bit of a debut week for Dean Huijsen, isn't it? Bloody hell.
Yeah, trying to deal with Mitro in the heat. Well, Real Madrid, of course, have been saying it would be appropriate to their grand history if they were the first club to win it.
Appropriate. The romance of the Club World Cup.
Appropriate.
That sentence is just saying, like, hand it over. We need not play. Save your legs. We're worried about fatigue as well.
Give it.
Fucked.
It's just superb language.
Fucked. Fucking bells.
Well, Peter, one man who will be at the Club World Cup with them is Trent Alexander-Arnold. They paid a few million quid to get him in the Club World Cup, of course. He had his unveiling as a Real Madrid player. He took the number 12 shirt because he's going to be a sub-goalkeeper, for those who remember. So Spanish top-flight sides are required to have their A squad with numbers 1 to 25. He's got Trent on the back of his shirt. I don't know whether that will be the case in the games. I assume that's what he's going for.
Well, apparently he's said that people in Europe generally find his name quite confusing because it sounds like 3 first names.
Yes.
So some people call him Alex, some people call him Arnold. So he said he's just making this easier for people.
That's nice. Already trying to fit in. And of course, he spoke excellent Spanish, Andy Brassel, at that unveiling. It shows you that this little rat has been learning Spanish for a while now.
La rata.
And he was always going to go. All right? I thought it was a disgrace, that, speaking Spanish.
I bet no fan pages have pointed that out so far.
Oh, mate.
No internet forums have pointed that out.
In between listening to that FIFA Club World Cup podcast, I was just watching a lot of Liverpool YouTube. I mean,
he should have done his goodbye.
He should have learned how to defend, never mind of learning Spanish. Oh, yes.
Oh, turn the tune.
Pop it in my veins.
What I would have been particularly good is if he'd have done his goodbye video to the Liverpool fans. That would have been
Estoy
enjoyable.
triste de dejar los ojos.
Adios, amigos.
It is amazing, though.
He's done well.
To think
You've got to say he's
it's
done
such
well.
a power move.
Yeah.
Like on the first day to say, I'm not Beckham. I'm not Owen.
Bill.
Seriously, I'm not Owen.
Check me out. It's pretty good. I mean, it's funny. I was saying to Pete actually, the way that Ryan Shirky's first interview after he signed for Manchester City, where he spoke English, not quite to the same level as Trent's Spanish. I think it's
But he was
fair
wearing
to
a
say.
bucket hat, so it was fine.
Exactly. He was walking bow-leggedly, but it was quite interesting. Considering he's 21, he's never lived outside France before.
Yep.
I thought it was quite impressive English, but it was funny because obviously he was like plodding his way through a few phrases like "I'm pleased to be here and play for this beautiful team" and all this.
I am mad
sort
for
of stuff. And then the way it was described in L'Équipe, because obviously things are described in a much more florid way in French than they are in English. It said, above, Shirky expresses himself in the language of Shakespeare for the first time. It's like, does he? Well, all right then. Yeah.
Shakespeare's language was English, Andy.
Yeah.
So, they are right.
Yeah.
In a way.
Shakespeare was mad for it as well, wasn't he?
You would say so.
Yeah.
You would say so.
Yeah.
Trent Alexander-Arnold, the new Gabriel Marquez.
Is that right?
Garcia Marquez.
Oh, lovely. Well, staying in Spain, did you see that on Wednesday, Real Oviedo beat Almeria on aggregate to reach the La Liga playoff final? And I understand, I've just said the league final, okay, on the old MLS thing. The winning goal came from a Santi Cazorla free kick.
You love to see it.
He's 40. This is 8 years after he was told that he'd be lucky to walk again.
Yeah.
When he had 11 different surgeries on his ankle, his Achilles,
I think it was his
Achilles, or his calf.
It was the back of his heel, wasn't it? It was the back of his heel.
I
'cause that's where
don't
the
know if
bit
you've seen the picture of it, but he
It's
barely
amazing.
had any leg left. It was
Yeah.
Well,
absolutely
it was
incredible.
complete reconstruction, really, wasn't it? It's skin grafted from his arm and all that kind of stuff. So still at 40, playing at a very, very good level,
And
by the way.
he looks 40 as well. He looks like a 40-year-old chipmunk.
Yes.
And he's just doing this amazing thing.
And of course, Real Oviedo, his boyhood club, Peter.
There's nothing not to love about this. It's so romantic. It's satisfying. It fills me with joy at a time where FIFA are trying to extract as much joy from me as possible to monetize it.
Are you off board now? You were on board a minute ago.
Then I saw what football could be.
Yeah.
Santi
This
Cazorla
is such an
rifling in free kicks.
emotional roller coaster. What's Pulp going to be like later?
Andy, this is what it's going to be. They'll be jumping up and down, and then the slow bit will come. Well,
This is sorted freeze and whiz, this bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think this is healthy
I hate
aging.
that song.
Yeah, well, he used his own money to help save Real Oviedo going bust in 2012. He returned there in 2023 on the lowest salary allowed under league rules. He had played in Qatar for 3 years before this.
Feather the nest.
Well, taken from the rich to give to the poor.
Right, okay, yeah,
perhaps.
nice,
Let's spin it like that for Santi's sake.
Yeah.
Otherwise, nothing is pure and good in this footballing world. But it's amazing. And what was funny was he said, I am 40, but I was disappointed not to start. And I was like, what a man. Yeah. What a competitive man.
Modric-esque, I would say. It's amazing, though, because when they get to the Liga playoff final, I know Oviedo have a lot of British-based sympathisers, it's fair to say. But they're playing in the final Mirandes, who've never been in the top flight before.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. They're a club from a tiny little place, and they spent over half their existence in the third and fourth tier of Spanish football.
Andy, much like a dinner party around your house, whatever happens, romance is guaranteed. Right, everybody, to make sure we treat the Club World Cup with the seriousness it deserves, we're doing another set of tournament predictions, and we want you to get involved. Any excuse, and this is a big old excuse. Here are the categories. We want to know who's going to be the winner. The dark horse. Oh, that's open to interpretation here. Top goal scorer. The amount of goals scored. The amount of fans who attend the tournament. That's a tricky one.
Well, it's a tricky one because they will lie.
Yeah. If you get that right, then you get a Football Ramble knighthood, unless your name's David Beckham. We want to know your prediction. Who's going to be the most famous non-football celebrity spotted at a match? So you can't have David Beckham All right?
Right.
Yeah.
So somebody who's not involved in football. Okay, they might have like bought a few shares or something, but someone who's not managed,
player or
played.
manager,
Exactly. Something that Gianni Infantino will say and be creative, and obviously the favourite category, notable mad shit, which could overlap the previous one there.
Yeah. Pete once famously predicted that a penis will be seen.
Yes.
And you can't have that because obviously Gianni Infantino is going to be all over it. So a penis will definitely be seen.
Yeah, already
doesn't count as
been seen.
notably mad.
Well, you'd have to say a bare penis then.
A bear penis?
Yeah.
In Colorado?
Well, yeah, they have them in America.
Yeah.
The right to bear penis.
Covered in honey.
The mind boggles. Well, there you go. Something to inspire you for those predictions. So head over to our socials now and you'll see our new predictions graphic. Fill that out yourselves and then tag us in a post using #RamblePredictions. We'll reveal our own at the end of the tournament. It's going to be ridiculous. Now, coming up after this, Spurs confirm Thomas Frank, and there's some wonderful fan shithousery in Italy. Right, everybody, let's talk about the Premier League. I forgot it existed for a minute there. Thomas Frank has officially joined Tottenham Hotspur. He was Brentford manager for 7 years, of course, including when they were promoted in 2021. But now, Pete Donaldson, he's walked across to North London and he's going to be managing the Europa League champions and the Champions League contenders into next season, Tottenham. What do you think, Frank?
Yeah, I mean, 7 years, that's flown by, hasn't it? It seems like a much shorter period of time. But I mean, I'll point in the direction of Andy. When you wrote your book talking about the Champions League back in the day, 2003, 2004, sort of.
Yeah, 2004.
You never mentioned Thomas Frank then.
You obviously spent.
Backfired, isn't it? Egg on your face. You have to update that.
You obviously spent a lot of time following a slightly unfashionable Porto side, and Jose Mourinho, and who obviously went on to win the tournament, and they'd obviously entered through the UEFA Cup back then, and so for that reason and that reason alone, I'm kind of asking you: are Thomas Frank's eyes on upside down? He's got upside down eyes, Marcus.
Answer the question.
I don't like it. I don't like looking at him. I'm scared of it. He's got upside down eyes.
The thing is, unlike Jose Mourinho, if that is the case, he'll be unaware of it because, of course, the cover of my book was Jose Mourinho kissing the Champions League trophy or kissing his own reflection, depending on which way you look at it.
Nice.
But Thomas Frank has never won a major trophy, so he's not had the luxury of doing that.
Kissing
he
something
will hope
reflective.
to do that with Spurs, or maybe he'll get to give a little peck to the Europa League.
Yeah.
A little peck on the Europa League.
Yeah.
Can you go into your own, under the cover of darkness, go into your own trophy cabinet and just get off with all your trophies?
I think
There was a somber moment. Trent Alexander-Arnold looking at the, as one Liverpool YouTuber pointed out, he's looking at them trophies in the trophy
accent was
cabinet.
that?
I don't know. He's looking at those trophies.
He's looking at them trophy cabinets.
He's looking at that trophy in the cabinet like he's never held the Champions League. I was like, oh, he's upset.
Yeah,
he's upset.
I mean,
Upset at a man looking at a cabinet.
he has held it. He also is probably looking at the two that Real Madrid won off Liverpool.
Exactly, yeah,
I say
probably.
off Liverpool and they beat them in the final.
But I think it's going to be a very difficult job, Marcus.
Yes.
You don't think?
I wish him all the best of British luck. I think it's a good appointment, though.
And it's good that they've got it done early, so he
That
can
is a
have
surprise.
his pre-season. That is the key thing because there is going to be a stylistic change.
Yeah.
I think Tottenham will be a little bit more practical under him, which they've needed. Look, I mean, the whole Ange Postecoglou thing has been talked to death, but what I think has not been emphasised nearly often enough when there's been the whole, should they sack him, should they not sack him? I think people know how I feel about that.
You were an Ange out man.
How I've felt about that for a while. But that doesn't mean, just because I thought it was the right time for him to go, that doesn't mean that the whole appointing him has been a failure. I mean, he was really positive for them. He was exactly what they needed directly after Mourinho and Conte. And his 2 years, for various reasons, have put Tottenham in a better place than where he picked them up.
Yeah, I mean,
I would suggest, despite the dreadful league form of last season. But now, we know a lot has got to change, and Frank is going to want to condition the team in completely a different way. I think the fact that he's got all his backroom staff with him is absolutely huge as he attempts to sort it out. And he's got time. they've got a transfer window where they really need to help him out.
Yeah, and actually, I think that there's a lot of... In fact, I think there are exclusively positives about this, because you talk about the conditioning there. And a lot was made of Postecoglou possibly sort of pushing the players too hard in training, and that's why they were getting a lot of hamstring injuries, that sort of stuff. There was talk of the medical staff themselves suggesting this and it not being listened to. So I think, Frank works his players pretty hard, but it might actually still be a step down, which is kind of perfect, really, because the players perhaps feel like things are slightly less intense and the level's still really high. That squad is far better than the league position suggested. Obviously, injuries played a part in that, like to the point where even before they make a single signing, you would think that they're still in a really good position to do significantly better than last season. The level of signings they can attract is obviously much, much higher now because of the Champions League. And I think this, realistically... This is the best appointment since Pochettino, because obviously Conte and Mourinho, the styles didn't quite work. They wanted a kind of big name manager to take them over the top, and it didn't quite play out like that. Nuno was a bit of a disaster. Obviously Postecoglou has had a tangible success, so you have to include him there highly, but I think we do all expect them to improve in most games under Frank. So I really do think you're going back to Pochettino. And again, he's a very, very pragmatic manager. And I think actually part of what has been an issue for Spurs before, even in their periods of relative success, has been that it has been kind of all out glory, isn't it? And sometimes that has kind of bitten them and they've kind of been perhaps a bit naive, left the back door open. Frank's a lot more pragmatic than that. I think you can say that Frank is a more pragmatic manager than Pochettino, who had a little bit of that about him, but was again perhaps a bit do or die in some cases. So it's a really, really good appointment for them.
I agree, and there's mainly probably less development required than when Pochettino had to undertake when he went in, because again it was transitional at the beginning and he got them into a good place. I think he's been left something to work with, is fair to say.
It was interesting, the Romero kind of nailing his colours to Andrew's mast after the announcement. Have you got the
with the transfer window left?
An hour after Frank's appointment, Spurs captain Christian Romero thanked Ange on his socials and said, "You paved the way despite the many obstacles that always existed and always will exist."
Yeah, so always will exist. You sort of feel that was a real kind of quite deft negotiation, like negotiating yourself out of Spurs by doing that.
News in, he's no longer Spurs captain.
I just think it's clever.
He's in a tricky position though, Romero, isn't he? I mean, obvious. I think, and that's probably why he's putting some sort of subtle pressure on the club. Unlike him to be subtle, isn't it? But I think you look at it, and the fact is, he would like to be in a more established Champions League team. Probably one particular team in Spain that's consistently shown interest in him. But the fact is, that particular team / club don't really have the money to buy him.
And like Spurs just bought Dean Howson, right?
No, I'm talking about Atletico.
Oh, okay.
But,
of course,
but like Spurs are not going to sell him for cheap. They paid a lot for him in the first place. He's in a difficult position, I think.
I mean, there was a lot of love from the players towards Postecoglou on their socials, which shows you that they did like him and respect him and all that kind of stuff.
But this is a different twist, though, isn't it?
It is a different twist, but also as well, players like, people were making things of some of the players saying, I'd like Postecoglou to stay on and so on. They're not going to say the opposite, are they?
No.
Look, realistically, they're not. So if they're asked a direct question, they're going to be quite politician-like.
I think a lot of them were quite like that. They said, thanks for everything that you've done. It's been a pleasure working with you.
Yeah.
They didn't say the club shouldn't have sacked you.
Yeah. But again, they're not going to say that as well. So I think the players did like Ange. But in terms of should he stay on or should he not, like, who knows what their actual opinions are. So one can read into sort of socials as much as you want. But I think the one thing that you would definitely say that the players did like him, because, as I say, try and find that level of social media engagement when Ten Hag got sacked from the Man United players. You won't. What would be quite amusing if Thomas Frank just started signing Wissa and just like going after, like he gets some boobo last minute, that kind of thing.
Well, I think that's the thing. What happens over the next couple of
He's just
weeks
totally ruthless, guts Brentford.
What happens over the next couple of weeks with Brentford is really interesting, because Justin Cochrane has gone with Frank, despite the fact that he was mentioned as a contender for the Brentford job.
Also part of England's coaching staff.
Yeah, obviously what they want is he's very highly rated, of course. A lot of what they want is stability and to continue on the way they're going. So the next move they make is a really key one, because what they've got to do is not just plan for next season, but kind of stem the flow of players who've seen a long-serving coach go and thought, it would not be surprising if Visser sees Mbeumo, who's presumably going to go this summer, and thinks, you know what, I've built my reputation as a Premier League player here. Is the wind blowing in a certain direction?
He's in a strong position.
You need someone who's going to come in at Brentford, impress the players, and say it's business as usual, onwards and upwards.
Yeah,
and they need to get that sorted quite quickly.
Yes, they do. They absolutely do. Right, gentlemen, I want to turn our attention to Sampdoria, the side from Genoa, of course. They're playing a Serie B relegation playoff, or play-out, as they call it in Italy, which is quite a strange thing.
Play out at the bottom, yeah.
Yeah, play your way out of trouble, maybe. Yeah. They're playing against...
or play your way out of the division.
Oh, yeah, depending on...
Playoff sounds a bit too much like payoff.
Maybe.
Maybe they got it right then.
Yeah, maybe they have. Yeah. Changing perceptions. Well, Sampdoria are up against Salernitana on Sunday. Now, fans of Samp's arch rivals Genoa have been buying tickets for the game under fake names to try and get them to play in front of a half-empty stadium. It's wonderfully lovely.
The inventiveness of it is amazing, really, because Samp have thought, right, okay, we need to really get everyone behind us. Now, they were actually relegated. They finished fourth bottom. And then Brescia went bust, so they got reprieved and promoted into the play-out. Massimo Cellino, obviously heavily involved in the Brescia thing. So Sampdoria think, okay, they've already done that earlier in the season when they got Alberigo Avani involved, Mancini involved, Lombardo involved to try and bring back old Samp. Didn't really work that well on the pitch, and now they've gone, okay, we can fill Marassi if we charge like a $5 for the tickets, or it's like $2.50 for concessions. And Genoa fans have thought, all right, then, bring it on. Bring it on. We can have fun for not much money.
Well, they've also been enjoying the names that they've been using. So, like, for example, a Diego Milito has bought some tickets, obviously famously played for Genoa.
Massimo Ferrara was one of the former president of Sampdoria.
Is that right?
Yeah,
nice.
Financially ruinous, quite extravagant.
I mean, if you're going to do it properly.
Yeah, this is it. They've grasped themselves.
Yeah.
Well, this is the problem. So Sampdoria will cancel all tickets which are considered blatantly absurd, as they've put it.
No team,
like
no club has anyone in the box office to do like fraud detection on this scale.
No.
They just don't have it.
But so you're exactly
let them in. So don't let them in.
Yeah, but you're highlighting it though. You go, hang on a minute. There's tickets here for, Attilio Lombardo, something like that. Sven-Göran Eriksson, I'm sorry, I'm not having that. So, we shall see if they can fill the stadium for that very, very, very important match, of course. Now, gentlemen, let us finish with a little mensch for the England under-21s. They kicked off their Euro under-21 defence with a 3-1 win over Czechia last night, which is a good start. I mean, the funny thing is, Lee Carsley said to his side, he challenged them and say, right, be even better than what the England side were in the previous tournament, of course, who won it. Now, that England side won every single game and didn't concede a goal. So they've already failed, haven't they?
They have. Yeah. That's backfired.
Get yourself home, lads.
Yeah, I love it. Go even better. It's like, come on.
Well, the goal difference has got to be higher, surely. That's all they've got left
that's
after
all
one game.
They've got, Jim Campbell.
Carsley's about aesthetics.
He is.
That's what he's about.
I think so, yeah. Harvey Elliott scored. I tell you what, Tino Livramento had a lovely time galloping down that left side.
He did, yeah. William Osler played very well for Denmark for 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Set one up, scored one. Beautiful.
So, it's a good tournament.
The under-21s for Newcastle, always a lot of fun.
Yes, indeed, yeah. Someone at Channel 4 who was showing the England's games was getting very excited about it. Every programme synopsis on the TV guide throughout the day mentioned England, which was quite enjoyable.
Strange.
There was a chap on X called Chris who suggested that I might be working for Channel 4.
Continuity.
So just to read this. So this is Channel 4. The programme is A New Life in the Sun. Where are they now? And the synopsis reads, Kevin and Laura race to finish renovations in northern Italy. Will Brooke Norton-Cuffy, who plies his trade in nearby Genoa, feature for the Young Lions tonight? Interesting. This one, Chateau DIY. Christina and Sasan's irrigation system is leaky. Let's hope England's defence isn't similarly porous as they face Czechia in the under-21 Euros tonight, which was very, very good.
Well done, someone.
And then this on Gordon Ramsay's 24 Hours to Hell and Back. Gordon tries to save Sherman's restaurant. Speaking of Gordons, can any of the current young lions replicate Anthony Gordon's Player of the Tournament success at the last under-21 Euros?
Amazing.
That's brilliant.
Amazing.
The D-Max where they keep on telling me to talk about the motocross. I have no concept about the motocross. I don't know what it is.
But I don't think you've really done TV or radio until you've advertised a product that you know nothing about.
No, it's a good point, actually.
I remember like being on TalkSport and going, buy 2 grip fills for a tenner from this place.